All right, we're in 5C. We're going to spend some time praying together tonight, but I just want to give a bit of a, kind of a summary vision of where we're going with all of this. We started KLMS with the mission, and we're going to spend a lot of time unpacking what goes on in our hearts over the coming weeks, but sometimes I feel as though there's a lot of technical things and a lot of behavioral things right now, things to do. And so I want to give a bit of a vision as to where we're going with all of this, and hopefully the rest of KLMS is going to help support you and encourage you and let this vision be light for you. Look at the quote. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. Isn't that great? And so to have a heart for making disciples and to have and to long to see people's lives transformed, we need to have a vision. And I think it's indispensable, or else mission is just going to be very, very tiring. Being a minister of reconciliation releases you to be a part of a discipleship movement. This thought was first fleshed out by Donald McGavran to describe God's people being released to penetrate their relational spheres for Christ. He's one of the pioneers in missiology that described these things, a discipleship movement. He called it a people movement, or a Christward people movement. Loving the lost can't be contained inside of a program or formula. That call is as wide as the needs around us and as deep as God's grace given us. Such diversity ensures that all God's people can and must participate. This is a discipleship movement. Christward movements of peoples are the supreme goal of missionary efforts. So here's to me the vision, I think, that we've grabbed hold of. The two models for spiritual multiplication are the elephant and the rabbit. The elephant model centralizes multiplication, requiring a very long gestation period, with the result being one more elephant. So typically what we see in the church is the model is you're responsible to bring everybody to the big gathering. And in that big gathering there's going to be some amazing speaker, going to be incredible worship, really great light and sound, super friendly people at the door. And after we grow that up, then we're going to plant one more of those. It's going to take years, then we're going to plant one more. And that's an elephant model of spiritual multiplication. A rabbit model, on the other hand, decentralizes multiplication, making it faster and able to produce multiple offspring. In every nation, we have a pastor, Shadonke Johnson, who lives in Sierra Leone, an incredible man. I have heard so many stories of him. Pastor Brant Redding in our church in Calgary has gone over there numerous times and has really become friends with Shadonke. And what they found in Sierra Leone is that he planted 27 churches in 17 years using the elephant model. So that's not bad. 27 churches in 17 years. When they shifted over to the rabbit model, which is what we've been teaching you, of disciples who make disciples, he planted 975 churches in 4 years. Every nation, yeah, in different regions, different villages in Sierra Leone. 975 churches in 4 years. Isn't that remarkable? What's the key? Is each one of us taking up the call to make disciples. Your number one job is not to get people to come to church. Your number one job is to bring the church to the people. And be the church wherever you are. Excuse me. A discipleship movement is like a healthy virus. It travels relationally, has unlimited potential, can adapt to any host, any person, transforms us from the inside out, and effectively transmits the gospel. You are called to be a carrier, infecting people with the good news of Christ. This is our vision. Our vision is not to simply be an elephant church. We want to be a rabbit church, where disciples make disciples who make disciples. I might have told you already when I was in Toronto, in a huge meeting of 5,000 people, and God saying, I'm going to do something more in your church than what you see here. And that more wasn't more signs and wonders, better preaching, better worship. It was going to be taking the Word of God and bringing it out into the streets. And it wasn't going to be about the one man of God doing everything. It was going to be about the people of God making disciples. And this is an experiment. And I've not seen it happen in Vancouver yet. And I'm holding out for it. Because I don't think there's another way to change a city or to change the nations. And we can try to have a super big church. We could do that if we put our energy behind it. It's actually not where we put our energy. Some of you say, yeah, I can tell. But our energy is not on Sundays. Our energy is in equipping you to make disciples who make disciples. And you figuring out how to move out of anxiety into faith so that love can thrive is all that's going on in our church. And there's not another you. There's not another you. It's us all owning this together and saying, I'm just a normal, regular person. And Jesus says, exactly. If you were more than that, then that means this couldn't be reproducible. It's got to be able to be done by regular, ordinary Christians, or it won't reach the ends of the earth. And I'm so committed to this, you guys, that I believe Jesus has called us to be part of a discipleship movement. And I feel very patient. Our church is now, we're in our 15th year, and I don't want to grow simply for growth's sake. I would like to figure out how to do this together. One of the things, our church at the beginning grew very, very fast, and then we went through a difficult time. And I remember when you get a big church, you as a leader feel the pressure to maintain that and to just keep everybody happy and to make sure it's really great and you're putting on a good show and everybody's being cared for and you're running a machine. And one of the kindest things that God ever did to us is have us go through a difficult time and reduce our numbers so that we wouldn't have to focus on keeping all the balls in the air, but that we could focus on training you up to reach your friends who would reach their friends with the gospel. And can you imagine what's going to happen if this works? This is going to be phenomenal. It's unstoppable. It's a virus. And it'll transcend all barriers, and it'll reach as far as you can imagine. And this is our vision as a discipleship movement. So what you're doing right now, I want to congratulate you, because this is the heart of our church, what you're working through, the fears that you work through, the questions that you have. I'm so proud of you for pioneering a hard thing, not an impossible thing. What's encouraging is we hear reports now around the world, including North America, and more importantly, including Europe, where we see discipleship movements rising up as a group of people choose, in naivety, to believe that it could happen. Why not us? Why not? We're normal, so I guess that's us. And I believe it can happen in Vancouver. I believe it. God was showing me this 30 years ago, and I've not changed my mind. I believe it's the word of the Lord. And I believe it's what our church is supposed to stand for. And I have been hunting and looking for a group of people that I could do this with. So I'm part of Every Nation. It's a discipleship movement. And it's why I'm a part of this church, is I believe we can do this together. And that's why I'm here. And if someday you say, Greg, we don't like rabbits, we like elephants, then let me know, and I'll happily move on. because this to me is what God has given me to do in my life. And it feels that valuable to me. And that's not a threat. I'm just saying that this is what it means, because I don't know of another way to reach a whole city. What are we going to do? Get everybody to hear, well, it'll never be me, I'm not that good, but to hear some other great person? How are you going to get them all out? We can't even fit them in a building. No, we have to go out and be the church. I want to spend a few minutes praying about this together and saying, God, would you choose us? Would you let us be part of this?